Let us create a few minutes and during which we use the spiritual sight. Baba was talking of the spiritual sight recently. And with this sight, we are able to see the whole physical world as a story. It's a theater based on a story. And these invisible actors take on the bodies, play their parts. Story has got a script. There are no questions why this happened or if it was to happen differently. So everything that we are seeing in front, including Prashanth talking now, that is happening within that theater story. And everything of the past is a story. There is nothing to complain when it is a story. There is nothing to worry about when it is a story. Nothing to be obsessed about in a story. When it is a story, we accept the holy man and we accept the dragon. We are amused by the king and we are amused by the King Kong. We come to the world beyond the story. And beyond is reality. World of silence. World of stillness. The real world. For the one with the sight, this is not a meditation. This is his home. Shanti Dham, the home of peace and the home of complete silence. This is the home of these invisible actors. This home is timeless, exists forever, and these invisible actors are also immortal. This is the home of the family of souls, invisible souls, and the invisible Father. The Father is the one who is the wisest, highest, Parasnath, always with the Paras intellect, One who knows in an absolute way that everyone is like him. Everyone is from this family. Everyone belongs to him. He knows their greatness. He knows that they are noble, also like him, stars. He also knows the story has story. He finds it strange anyone would create any attachments in a story. The bond between the father and the children is eternal. Bond of love and bond based on equality. Father sees with equality. We realize truth is beautiful and easy. Truth for everyone is good. As we prepare to continue on our journey in the sky and in the story world, these invisible actors remain the invisible actors. They remain from that sky. They're always from that sky. They remain the invisible observers of the great story. So, first of all, hello to um, Los Angeles. Very nice connecting with the family, and I know that some of these words you are not seeing. The top line you are not seeing. What is written here? Mystery, magic, and the meaning. We are trying to explore this dimension, paranormal, through the studies done in science. There are many institutions, California is one of the big area here, which is very interested in paranormal. Fred Allen Wolf, based in San Francisco, he has been to our retreats in San Francisco. Anubhuti, he has been to some science events. But there are many institutions, but here I have given some websites. These are people who are from the science background, based in universities, who are interested in paranormal and do research in this area. And they got books and they got publications. And even if you go into the websites, that might connect you to some of the publications and books. It is very interesting to read, as long as we don't distract ourselves too much in it. But interesting because it is like they are not trying to push another religion or some concept. They are trying to understand a phenomenon. So you get a very objective view. Kind of things that they are uh, publishing, and then there are some books in this area, out of body experiences, and they have got hundreds of thousands of cases of out of body experiences. and they say 6% of the population have out-of-body experiences. 6% means 50 million people on this planet have out-of-body experiences. Often it is my experience, if I ask a gathering, if there are say 100 people, how many here had out-of-body experience? 5, 6 hands go up. In some gatherings even more. Apparition is when you are seeing a dead person, a little bit like seeing a ghost, and they find that sometimes a group of people, they all see. Sometimes just one person in the gathering sees, not everyone. And they got different ways of explaining it. Telepathy is communication between human to human, human to animal through thoughts. Like in one experiment, Richard leaves his office to go home, and the dog at his home, uh, 10 miles away, he goes to the door. Next day, Richard leaves office at 7 o'clock, and dog goes to the door at 7 o'clock. Reincarnation, this is what we are going to see in some details today. Poltergeist is when people hear a sound, it is a German word, means knock, ghost knocking, but larger phenomena, things disappear and reappear elsewhere. So that is that phenomena, poltergeist. Psychic healing, about precognition, people able to see the future in exact detail. Like for example, a person, someone I knew, she saw a red car hitting a white car at a certain spot near her house 2 days before the accident happened. And it was white car, it was red car, same spot. And she saw it in a dream. But this kind of phenomena, some people may see it in vision kind of thing, just an experience, miracles. I'm just coming to the subject of today, but some of these are interesting areas. Multiple personalities, this is a term used in medical books. But what is interesting, in this multiple personalities, morning there's one personality, evening there's another personality. As the personality changes, their health changes, health state. Like one person may be having asthma, but as the personality changes, he is free from asthma. Or the other personality has some allergies, and as the personality changes, allergies disappear. In some cases, scars appear and disappear with change of personality. Color of eye changes with change of personality. So in their language, they use the word personality. What we are really seeing is there are two souls there. One becomes dominant at one point, another becomes dominant at another point. Now we'll come to the subject of reincarnation, and I might encourage you to go, if you are interested, and type these words, Ian Stevenson, Virginia, and you get connected straight away to his pages and videos and photographs. Very, very interesting to do this. He has written books. In 1962, first time he came across a mother bringing a child, and this child remembers another life. And mother was puzzled by this, and she wanted a psychiatrist to look into this. And Ian Stevenson was a psychiatrist. He went into detail, took as much information from the child, and based on the information, Ian Stevenson was the first one to locate that other family, other address, and met those people, studied that family, and he found 40 facts that the child spoke matched with the reality of that family. He published that case in the Psychiatry Journal of America at that time. He got lots of interest. He got grants to study this more. And more he published, he got more grants. So it became a nice positive spiral for him. And then in time, he was able to have a division within Virginia University, and it is called Division for Personality Studies. And he was able to do this studies research properly in all 5 continents with the help of parapsychologists. It is not an easy thing, this kind of research, very expensive. For example, there is a case in Thailand, and so someone from his team need to go there, meet people and try and get information, locate other family, post-mortem examination of the other person. He goes into such details. And then follow them up after 6 months and after 1 year. It goes on for a period of time. So he got parapsychologists, in different countries working with him. And now he has got 24,000 cases, or I'm talking of the division of personality studies. And these are good cases. They are not very interested just because someone vaguely remembers something. Out of these 24,000 cases, there are some, I'm talking here, thousands, more than 5,000 kind of cases where they remember more than 40 facts. A large majority remember some details, but not all the facts. Many remember just the final moment, how they died. They all start talking about other life when they are 2 years of age, and they start to forget as time progresses. By the age of 6, they have forgotten most of it. This is a pattern. In some cases, there is a variation. They all have phobias and philias. And phobia means they like in a certain life, and sorry, phobia and philia. Philia is something that they like. They like everything connected with the other life. They like that culture, they like that religion, they like that country, they like that family, everything connected with the other, even including the gender. They like that gender. They want to dress like that gender, this kind of thing. And phobia is fear or dislike. If they died of water, they have fear of water in this life. If they died of accident, they have fear of going into the car. So this connection is 100%. You can see that pattern. Uh, so much so that they tell their mother in this life, "You are not my mother. My mother is the other one." And they and this my mother will come anytime. They talk like this to their mother, and they can't be. They don't feel settled in this life. They live in the past life, in the present. They speak of everything of the past in the present tense. That is my mother. Not that she was my mother, they don't say this. My name is this. This kind of thing. My dog's name is this. They think of that as their present. They can't accept this birth, in this life. That creates a problem. They don't get settled. Those who remember this life and past life, they don't get settled here. One case in Lebanon, she's now more than 30 years of age, and she remembers past life. She remembers the husband in the past life. She keeps ringing that man. That man is married to someone else. And she says, "No, he's my husband. I don't want to marry to anyone." And she keeps ringing that person, and it creates a chaos. She's not settled, and husband understands he's the same person from the past life. But He's in trouble and she's also in trouble. In this case, she remembers all these years. In a pattern is by the age of 6, people forget. They have seen that the people can cross the boundaries. It is now 24,000 cases. They can cross the boundaries. I mean, they can be born in different family, different religion, different race, different country, different gender. They can go anywhere. They have not seen one case where there is an animal life before. So it happens within the human race. It can be different races, but human species. So this is a pattern. But having said that, they can go to different countries. Large majority, they are born in the same community. And to be reborn within the same family is very common. Person born as a grandson, grandnephew, nephew, that is very common. So if someone is born within a year of the death, that is likely to be, it is one possibility. Same soul has come back again. The median time between the death and the birth is 14 months in his studies. So it is not instant. In many cases, it is instant. Someone dies and the child is born, and usually the mother is pregnant between third month and fifth month of pregnancy, and that is the way it happens in large majority of cases. But in some cases, there is a gap of 10 years, something, it can be as much as that. And in Stevenson feels there may be another birth in between, that child has forgotten. That may be one explanation. But extra corporeal existence, that is also a possibility, and people speak. Some speak of they being in peace, silence, in some space. They don't say where it was, but they remember they were in that deep silence in between, and they remember the life before, and then that long silence, and they are born now. Some say they existed near the crematorium. That is also there, you know. And one person said he followed one. He saw such and such a person near the crematorium on a certain time, and it is verified. That particular person did visit that town and that crematorium at a certain time, and he was able to see that. So that is like extra information, but a large majority, this is not a case. A large majority are born within a short time, within 6 months of leaving the body. Mother is already pregnant. You want to ask anything? You can type questions, and someone can read the, your comments or questions. As we go along, we'll deal with it. And of course, you will have time for questions later also. One thing of interest for us, in one study in Bangalore, there is the lady by name Satwant Patricia, and she was working with Ian Stevenson, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. She's connected with that, and as parapsychologist, and she did reincarnation studies in the area of India and that continent, Burma. And in her observations in the one study, people go down the social hierarchy in majority of the cases. Just as what we speak of, that ladder, people go down, each birth they are going down, and that is reflected in these studies. So in every place there is some level of hierarchy, some class, caste, finance, education. There is a hierarchy in every place. And in these cases, have, she observes that people go down the social hierarchy. In cases where they go up the social hierarchy or at the same level of social hierarchy, it is when they die as a child. And you can understand if someone died as a child, he has not been into vices. So he has not gone into the downward journey. And on the other hand, he has settled karma. Just the birth and death in this iron age is huge settlement. There's pain. And this sort of being dying somewhere, being born and dying again, and usually difficult life of those 5 6 years, he has just settled the account and then he dies again. So they have settled the account and they go up the hierarchy. In some cases, very small number where they go up the social hierarchy, but otherwise they are at the same level of the social hierarchy. But those who have lived adult life, they go down the social hierarchy. If you want to say anything, feel free to say. So these are in the childhood games, in the kind of toys children keep and they are attracted to, has a reflection on what happens to the based upon his past life job and his occupation or profession. If someone was a doctor in the past life, in this life, he treats other children as a patients and he is treating them, giving them injections. Someone was a pilot, his all toys are aeroplanes, green aeroplanes, red aeroplanes, you know, he draws aeroplanes, pictures of aeroplanes. You know, is that is his life. So whatever he person was interested in the earlier life, that is seen in the childhood games. You want to say anything or add anything? Is the sound okay for you?
Yes. I think everybody can. I've actually allowed people, if they want to ask any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can ask questions. So if anyone have any questions, you can ask now before brother continue, or if you want to type it in the chat box, I can read that out to him also.
Nice.
So, one question, brother. Can you please explain about the social hierarchy aspect again?
Yeah. And we said there is a hierarchy in every community. There is a hierarchy of some kind uh, based on sometimes class or caste or financial, educational. There is some levels, and as people go through the life, and what is seen is there is a movement down the social hierarchy in majority of the people. So in one case that surprises me and puzzles me also, the case in India, someone was in the Brahmin caste and fairly well placed, family. He dies in that, not even very old. He dies at age of 50, 48, 50, that sort of age. And next birth is born into untouchable family. So such a drop is not seen in all cases. They go down, but in this case, it is right down. And question that came to me is, what is it that he did that you're, you go so down in the social hierarchy? So that is that is something that can be seen in these cases. Does that help? Social hierarchy?
Yes, yes. There's one question that came up. It says, can you talk about cases of abortion in case where it was medically necessary?
And in this subject, that is not studied in the within the science laboratory in this subject. So I don't have context, you know. But maybe if you study Ian Stevenson, there may be some who might have studied that further. The study on twins is also something that they interest them, and and they can see the personalities of being different even in identical twins. Now here's Ian Stevenson has written books, many books, but what is the subject that is of real interest for us would be the subject where injury from one life is seen into the other life. Some evidence of the injury continues into the other life. One of his books is called Birth Defects and Reincarnation. It's a simple example. Someone was shot in the head. In the next life, he will have a circular scar on the head, the place where he was shot. And gives you an idea, okay, and he remembers the other life, but he has a circular scar at the exact spot where he was shot. The photograph that you are seeing there in front is of a child born without the fingers in one hand, right hand. And he remembers in the earlier life, he was, sort of playing around where father was using his photoshopping machine and lost his fingers. And 5 days later, he died. So he remembers that life, and he remembers how he died. And now he's born without exact fingers. You know, but in this case, he remembers this whole past life as an adult also. Another case in Thailand, a man was hit on the head and he died. And the child is born with the scar on the head, exactly the place where the other person was hit, but remembers the life of the other man. That other man happens to be his paternal uncle. So that, as we said, to be reborn within the same family is very common. Similar case where there is an ulcer on the toe and the malformation of the toe continued in the next life. Now let us try and see how we can explain this. He has got all kinds of cases. One man was hanged, and this was he was a criminal in Burma, and this person is born also in the same country, and he is born without the lower jaw. Mandible is very underdeveloped, and the neck, very narrow neck. So most life he has to have liquid food. But now he's an adult, at least when he was studied. But he remembers that he was hanged in the earlier life and he was a criminal in the earlier life. One gay case in Chicago, a policeman was shot by the gangsters, died, and a girl is born in Chicago. She remembers the policeman, how he died, and she has a hole in the heart, and she had to be operated on that. And and exactly the same spot where the bullet passed through. Now, how do we explain? Here we are seeing the man, he dies, and then there is a child born. The only common factor is the soul. And with the soul, what we are seeing, all the cognitive functions happen there and they go with him. Memories, impressions, tendencies, sanskaras, everything go with the soul. We attribute it to the brain wrongly. Brain is just used to retrieve that information. So there are some cases in this that clearly shows even they have the accent, the kind of accent from the family they came, you know, and tendencies. Mean all these functions go with the soul. So here is shown, you know, the impressions with this image, field of impressions, and that field of impressions goes with him. As an example, here let us say this is a small accident, and let us say in this accident, person lost his fingers. That photograph is just for a joke. I don't know where that accident happened or how that car reached there, but person lost his fingers and he dies sometime later. But the soul in he there is getting the impression I'm without fingers. You know, and even if he dies, that impression is still there. I lost my fingers. And now he is born in another place. He's carrying that impression. I'm without fingers. And what we are seeing here, our mind influences the body even in the fetus. And it creates the body without those fingers. Shows the phenomena, how much mind has influence on the body. At the age of 3 months, the fetus is little more than 1 inch in size. And by the age of 4 months, it is 1.5 inch in size. So that is the sort of time when the soul comes in and this tiny hands, but creates, soul is influencing. In some cases, there is a, say, person died and there was injury. Injury is like a deeper experience, but there was a stain, blood stain on the leg, and photograph is taken. There is a photograph of the whole injury, but the body was cremated in the same place, same situation. There was a blood stain, and there was an injury. And in the next birth, he definitely got that scar where the injury was, but rest of the skin, there is a red patch of various density, like erythematous patch on the skin, born with that patch. And it matches exactly with the photograph taken of the cadaver, dead body, and in that dead body, there was a stain of blood on the leg in the same density. Some places there is more darker stain, and some places lighter stain. Same print as if goes there, and the body is born with that erythematous patch. Am I clear? Shows you that the soul is carrying the impression.
Prashanth, there are actually a few questions that have already came up. Should I ask you now?
Yeah.
So the first one is, I think this is referring to the question earlier when you said about that. Is it that if a soul is born after a gap of about 10 years, you say that they are not they are not born in the same family during that period. So where is the soul? I think that 10 years gap, I think that's what they're asking for, that 10 years. Where could the soul have been?
Yeah, different possibilities. They may be born somewhere else and then come back in this, in this present birth. But it may be extra corporeal existence. That is a possibility.
There's a second question is, it's about split personality. Is there a way to rectify it, or we'll have to just live with it?
And they don't have problems. They live together. It is not a psychiatry sort of abnormal situation. Lots of them, they know within them there is another personality. They sort of live together with each other. Like one lady says, she goes to the car, and car is not there in the garage, and she has to guess where the other person has parked the car, and she roughly knows where the other person parks the car, and she finds the car and gets on with life. They sort of live together, just like husband and wife somehow manage each other's, likes and dislikes. It is a bit like that, but cannot be rectified. At least we don't have a method.
Another question is, why are they born with defects? And then how long does the extra corporeal existence last? Is there settlement of karmas in that stage?
At this stage, we are just seeing the science observations, and these are all theories. We do not know how long is possible. That we do not know, but we are definite that that phenomena does exist. People do inform of existence in an extra corporeal way. Some say they are in silence. Some say they were near the crematorium, or they know the activities and verifiable. They give information which can be verified. So this kind of, but we cannot know how long that phase may last for other people. Any other question?
The next question is, okay, I think Sudhaben, she has a question, but she didn't type.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Okay, you can make it short.
Can I? Hello?
Go ahead.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just want to know, there is a person who went through so many accidents, real major accidents and car accidents, and even had accidentally taken poison and never had any problem. I mean, the person came out without, you can say in Hindi, bal baka bhi nahi hua, means not a hair was damaged and came out so safe every time. What's the reason? Is it something from the past life or?
Yeah. All other situations are like that, but because our time is short, we will stay with the essence.
Okay.
If we get time, we'll address these other questions. But we'll try and understand the phenomena. So I will move to this subject right now, where the injuries are seen into the body, in the next life. So we give this example where impression is carried from one life to the next. So the second case, where there is injury to the head. And so this injury, a person dies, but the impression goes with him. And it is represented by this letter H. And the impression is just this, that I got an injury on the head. And this impression goes with him into the next. He's born with that impression. And this impression will create a reality into the fetus, influences the fetus, because in the soul is convinced, I got an injury on the head. And that is what physical, what we are seeing here, physical level is a reflection of what is happening in the mind. So in the third case, there is an injury to the toe, and we are seeing the impression created there, and that impression goes with him, creates malformation of the toe in the fetus. So here we are already getting the idea of last thought. In it, we are showing it in the form of impressions. What is happening at the time of death? The impression in the soul, that impression goes with him. He is born with that impression, and that impression creates the reality. This happens even if there is a gap. We said the median time is 14 months, means average time. So in some cases we said there's a gap of 4 years, 5 years. And even though there is a gap, after all this gap, the child is born and he will create that, that injury will be there in the next birth. That malformation will be there. So let us now, based on this, see the social repercussions. How the impressions create, influence our social life. That's what we are going to see here. So here we are seeing, am I clear? So far what we have seen is very gross injury to the body, and you can see the evidence of it in the, almost like seeing in the laboratory. One finger is lost, and exactly the same finger you see lost in the fetus. One lady was stabbed 27 times, and child is born, 27 blood red scars on the back. Exact. Just that the lady the body was big, and this little baby, and she remembers who killed her also, how she died. But there's evidence of scars on the back. So you can know the same soul coming here and creating the reality. So here we are seeing how it will affect our social life, this phenomena of getting impressions. Here is a person with money, and he has attachment to his money. And every day before going to bed, he opens his bag and counts his money, and he feels very good about it, very impressed with all the money he has. Is it wrong? Is it wrong to be happy with money? Is it wrong to count all this money? Anyone? Is it wrong to be attached?
No.
No? Okay. What will be his impression if he is to die? If he is dying, what will be his last thought?
Count his
money.
Money, agreed. Anything more about money?
Like, what will be the use of the money? So much of money he is having. So what could it happen to the money? How will it be used?
Yes, yes. And last thought will be, he's going in one direction and money is in a different direction. Say there are sometimes these refugees, there are people in Africa, suddenly the dictator comes and says, you leave the country in 24 hours, otherwise you die. So they leave everything behind. They don't say, wow, I had a great life here, 40 years, I had a great, this house, and I got all this gold of all these 40 years. Now I'm going. I can't take anything with me. Thank you. It was a nice house. They don't say it like this. They say, this is my house, this is my gold, this is my money, and I'm losing it all. When they leave that place, they feel, I am a loser. I'm losing all this. So here, more the attachment, last thought is, I am losing all this. I am losing all my money. And I'm unlucky. I'm unfortunate. So the impression created there is, I'm poor. More the attachments, opposite is the impression. And that impression goes with him. That impression influences the reality in the next. So that creates life where there is, because the psychic impressions has its own results. I got few very good examples of this. In one case I can tell you, a person, very well qualified, lots of very good contacts, great family. So if you see all these factors, you will say he is very well placed, must be very successful. But all his life, not just sometimes, all his life, from the word go, he's struggling just for survival. Basic survival is struggling. And looking at that scenario, you have to admit that here there is something deeper. No one can change it. Even if someone gives him some money, he puts it in the fixed deposit. So he has no access. He's still struggling for his survival. He gets some interest, but he is struggling. So this is the kind of life that is led by one who is in this. So this psychic impression creates that. Too impressed with whatever he had before, and that creates that impression, I'm poor. So another case, let us say, person has attachments to people. In this case, attachments to children. My children are so nice, look at his children. And if he is to die, he will feel, he or she, last impression the soul carries, I am losing my children, I'm without children. And that impression goes with the soul. No children. And this is the situation where the soul will have difficulty in having children or problems in the relationship with the children. These are psychic factors, and even psychotherapist cannot easily fix them. Children, there's no explanation. They just want to run away. And why they want to run away? Mother is so nice, mother is caring, but it is something different. It is beyond control. And psychic impressions create a reality. Now let us come to present world. Pre-corona world. What is the world? Attachment to everything. Attachment not just to money and people, but iPod and iPad and position and objects and everything. Food and chutney. So when shown as a whole planet, they want to be master of the universe. So my to everything. Now with that kind of thing, death means you lose everything. Sometimes when people say, "Oh, so and so died, but there was so much peace on his face," he died happy. What happens after the soul leaves the body? That uh, body goes through some process, cells of the body, and it releases lactic acid. And this lactic acid creates certain contraction of the muscles. So on the face, some of the muscles are going into some spasm, and it looks like a smile on the face. And relations say, "Oh, see, there is a smile on his face. He left happily. There was happiness, so much peace on his face." But that is our deception. It is called rhizus sardonicus. It is not a real smile. It is because of lactic acid. Internally, the soul says, "I lost all my, you know, iPad, and I worked for all my life for this, and this mine, and children, and I'm losing it all." So the impression carried, if there are attachments, impression carried is, I'm losing all this. And those impressions go with the soul, and they are born with those impressions. As I said, even if there is a gap, somehow it's a frozen. And during that period of, we said gap of whether it is 14 months or more, as if there is a frozen. Things don't change. The impression it continues, and when they are born, it it will influence the reality, and it brings the whatever. If there are attachments, it creates misfortune. So now let us come to the soul conscious life. If there is true soul conscious practice, soul, right now, the soul is traveling here. Soul is passing through this theater, as was said before. This is a theater, this is a story. Awake soul finds it strange to believe that anything there can belong to him. So he knows he can own nothing. Not one atom there can belong to him. No one else can belong to him in the theater. He doesn't want to get stuck there. He finds it strange, anyone who think that way. Now that he got nothing to lose. He's coming out of the theater. He doesn't say, "I'm going to lose my mask and I'm going to lose that sword." And that was all paraphernalia for the theater. He loses nothing. He comes happy, lives happy. So feeling of fullness with him, that goes with him. That's what he's born with. That will create a reality, a fortune, fullness. As we said, knowing of the soul is one thing, and practicing is one thing, and getting it properly right. That there is no my, I in the theater. That is, if that is done, then you got nothing to lose at the time of leaving the body. Sometime Baba has said that final moment will not happen necessarily by your planning in the meditation atmosphere. It may be sudden anywhere. So we may have to have that attitude in the natural. Make it easy, make it natural. Let us see here, soul consciousness plus God. That inner life is represented by what is shown in that circle. Star and the image of God is shown. So that is his in the mind. And what it is like a awake soul. And that is what we mean by yogi. Yogi is the soul, that is yogi, awake soul. He is aware, not just Baba Baba, but the whole reality of the soul and the Father and that world reality, eternal reality of God and God's world. His feeling during lifetime, I will repeat, I will say 10 words, and it may be good for us to remember these 10 words. He feels inside that his life is complete and perfect. Complete. He got the father, and he got a home. He got family of souls. He got immortality. So he feels it is complete. Everything is there. He's not missing anyone. And perfect. He got himself, the mind, soul feels perfect. And home is perfect, supreme home. Father is perfect, others, all round perfection. From that angle, even the story is perfect. There is no complaint about the story. Iron Age plots. In Iron Age, you will see Iron Age plots. And it will come to an end. The episode finishes. He doesn't feel even the death of the body is something wrong. No, it is perfect. That is the part that finishes at the right point. And the next phase starts. So his yoga is with perfection. He feels things are perfect, complete. He feels everything is full, love full, peaceful. Every aspect is full and beautiful. When we said complete, nothing missing, full, nothing lacking. So full and beautiful. He feels every aspect of his life is the best, and that he's lucky. Best father, best family, best home. Everything is best. He feels he's not getting anything second best. Just lucky to get every aspect the best. He feels his reality is full of love. It's the region of love. Everyone is lovely because all souls in this dimension, they are egoless, sorrowless, desireless, viceless. That is childlike. If there's no ego and all, that is childlike. And they are doubly non-violent. Under provocation, they will not hurt you. So they are this wise, without sorrow, childlike, and godlike. It is a region of love. They all are worthy of love, immensely lovely and loving. So this is what you are seeing. This is a dimension of love and secure in it, because nothing can be lost. No one can hurt you. You are beyond harm. And so he feels there is this area of fullness, of love, because everything is best. He also understands that ultimate score is success for everyone. In this yoga, he understands success is guaranteed all around. Whatever you are doing, your yoga is with success. Very interesting, And Gandhi, and many things are very attractive. Greatly admire Gandhi. But towards the later phase in his life, he said he did not succeed. He failed. This is the expression he used, and that is mentioned in the film Gandhi also. That something he failed. One who is soul conscious, his yoga is with success. He doesn't say he failed in anything. Drama is drama. That is destruction. That is not failure for him. But he knows that all souls will wake up and they will come back to their home and they will all be, uh, you know, lovely. He knows the final result, and the final result is success. And so his yoga is with success, and he knows whole thing is forever. His yoga is with immortality, Amarpuri, in Amarkatha. Am I clear? So these are the 10, 10 words we used to remember these 10 aspects of our yogi experience. Yoga, what are you having yoga with? More our yoga is with the drama, like Gandhi. Great achieved great things, but yoga is with some kind of a failure, something like that. But here, the person says yoga is God, but it is not Ram. Gandhi also said here Ram at the end, but our Ram includes Ram and the world of Ram. But what Baba really wants us to have is the experience of fullness and success and abundance and best and lucky and immortality. If this is the impression during life, that will be the impression at the time of death. And that is the impression one will carry with one when he is born. If these are the impressions, where can you get all this? Now I want to add, say if someone sees, it came today also in Murli somewhere, if you have Baba as your father, Baba as your mother, and all relationships, Baba as your friend, Baba as your companion, all relationships, Baba is your child, Baba encourages us. See that there is no relationship, any relationship in the story. Story is story. You don't have relations in Cinderella world. So all relationships are with Baba. And so at the time of death, he feels he's coming closer to the best friend and supreme father and supreme companion and supreme mother, the great best God. So he is getting the impression he got the best father, best mother. And so he is taking these impressions with him. In future, he will have God-like father, God-like mother, God-like friend, God-like companion. Understand? What you are creating here with the father, these are the impressions go with you. So you will, in the golden age, you will have God-like, Krishna's life all around. It will be God-like. those who are around Krishna, they are godlike friend. Deities are godlike. Now, if someone has God as his father, God as his mother, he agrees, yes, yes. And God as a friend, yes, of course, God is a friend. But my companion is Carlos, not someone in the drama. That is my companion. So last moment, he will still be coming. He's a Brahmin. He's coming closer to God, thinking of God, and God is a father, God is a mother, God is a friend. But companion, he says, "Oh, I'm losing my companion. My companion was in a drama." And so he goes with the impression, God like father, God like friend, but a little faulty impression that I'm losing my companion. My companion was so good in the drama, and I'm losing. So in the next life, he will have God like mother, God like father, God like friends, but companion will create trouble because the impression created is faulty. He brought the impression I'm losing my companion. So there will be that repercussion, that will be a result of that. Just like at a level of DNA, if there is one bond missing at the level of DNA, then when the baby is born, one limb may be missing. Bond between nitrogen and carbon atom, or just one bond missing. Baby is born, a limb may will be missing. In the same way here, this what is shown in that circle, I call it alpha beta. So soul and God. If how close you are to the truth about the soul, are you mixing? So the soul, but are you mixing things in the drama, role and all? Then your last impression will not be wonder of the soul. You will be missing. Oh, I'm losing this. I'm losing my wealth. I'm losing my people. In the same way, how close you are with God and the Word of God. Accordingly will be the final results. Final moment of death. When I have seen deaths, sometimes person may be unconscious in the last few days, but last moment of death, he becomes more conscious. He opens the eyes. And in some cases, they, not my experience, but they have been more conscious and more clear. It almost gave the impression to the staff that he's improving. And then he leaves the body. So there is a extra awareness before death. And you can imagine, suddenly someone is told, you are leaving this house. You're leaving the house. I was thinking I'm going to be here forever. Suddenly I'm leaving. That's a very big moment for the soul. And soul is extra awake. And whatever is our impressions created during lifetime, that is the examination happens in that last second. Where is my heart? Where is my mind? Where are my attachments? Am I really out of this story world? Or am I dangling a little bit somewhere in the story, some companion here and some chutney, some food? If I'm dangling there, that will create a negative impression in the future because it will at a genetic level. And talking here, psychic DNA. It will leave an impression, and it will just lower the reward. To get a full marks, 100% marks in the future, I will have to score 100% in those 10 subjects. Yoga is with alpha beta. That's what Baba wants us. Why Baba tells us, each Murli, so many times we hear this. Why? that alpha beta, get that right, get that, stay awake to that. The present is also rich and full. Only thing that will be denied is Ravan. Today Baba said, die. Your effort is to die and remain dead as long as you are alive. Oh, beautifully put. You read that Murli, no? So your effort is to die and remain dead. So Ravan is the one who is caught, into this story world. Ravan is a product of ignorance. He is having so many attachments into this. So if someone can die to this world, means dying to Ravan really, and remain dead, then the angel will become conscious. Angel will be alive. And angel will be connected to alpha, beta. I think I'm talking, crossing your time limit, but you might like to say something.
Om Shanti, this is Gayatri here. I have one question. Like, why do some people have so much deep impression and others, like maximum of them do not have? Like, why do some people have so much, like how can they remember, and why can't everyone remember?
Yes, one reason is the whole thing depends on how much attachments there are. Taking the example of the body, one person may have very deep attachment to the body. So he loses a finger. You can hear?
Shanti.
Sound is okay?
Yes, sound is okay.
Yeah. So he loses the finger. He feels, I lost a finger. Someone who has not that much attachment to the body, he says, okay, body has lost a finger. He feels it is not he has lost a finger. There is some level of detachment. And so that injury doesn't go into the next life. Just in this connection, I would like to also say, in some cases, they don't get a full-blown injury. Like we showed some examples where there is a scar on the head, or every detail of injury is all seen in the next life. Like in some cases, the bullet wound of entry is seen, and the wound of exit is also seen, because the bullet wound of exit is bigger and irregular. A bullet wound of entry is very sharp and circular, and they're born with this wound of entry and exit. So obviously these are the souls who have got deeper bondage with the body, deeper identification. And some who are not having deep identification, they won't get a circular scar, but they get a mole. The mole that we see in the body, some children or people are born with a mole. That is an indication of remnant. It is like a minimum sign of something happened at that area in the past life. Does that help, Gayatri? Does it answer?
Most of the deaths are very painful, and state of consciousness at that time is not like soul consciousness. I mean, the soul leaving the body is, has to leave all that, get detached from the body. And even the yogis who have practiced at the last moments, they do have pain. Do you have any comments on that?
This is this is the why the effort in the lifetime, and I'm also emphasizing in this accurate effort. There are yogis of all kinds, and like if you are talking about bhakti system, they are called yogis and they are called sannyasis, but results come if there is accurate alpha beta. If you are accurately soul conscious, you are accurately becoming free from all these attachments, then there will be results.
Can you just tell me the meaning of the extracorporeal existence, what you spoke about?
Sure. It just means the existence of the soul without a body. And what we may think as the person leaves the body, we don't know which region it is. It is certainly not the subtle region that we speak of, not the soul world we speak of, but in some, which Baba doesn't always talk about, maybe, but there is a region where they stay in peace. That's what they say. They are in deep peace, there is silence, and then they are born.
Okay, so Prashanth Bhai, I guess they have all the answers now. Would you like to take us into meditation?
Okay.
So everyone else, you can mute yourself, and brother will take us into a meditation experience.
In this, let us come to that tenfold yoga experience. This is the life of the awake soul. He understands his form is the invisible presence, completely separate from the story. Invisible presence. He is in a world that is invisible, invisible sky, subtle. He is aware that he has the great family of these souls. He is aware that he is worthy to be loved by God. He knows that his world is of perfection. Great family, great father, supreme home. In this supreme home, there is no vibration of desire, no vibration of desire, no vibration of disappointment. We realize the truth of everyone is beautiful. Everyone is lucky. Everyone has a home. Everyone is loved by the Father. They are from the family of God. Like the princess who belonged to the King of Kings. Truth for everyone is good. As we continue our journey in the sky and on earth, we aim to remind ourselves of this beautiful truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashanth Bhai. Okay. You all can have a one wave thank you to brother. Thank you for traveling all the way to LA, to Los Angeles. And we will probably meet you soon in Cambridge, or we'll have you here in Los Angeles again.
Yes, nice.
Thank you, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.